Hi everyone, and welcome to the importance of perceptual skills development in emotionally challenging times. My name is Lisa Wingham, and I am an education specialist with over 20 years experience in the classroom. I'll be guiding you through this webinar today. Some quick housekeeping rules. Although I'm sure that the word housekeeping makes you think about all the laundry and dishes that need to be done at home. Please note though, the webinar will be 45 minutes long, including a question and answer session at the end. Please ask these questions in the chat section during the webinar as they come up for you. We will try to answer all of your questions as best as we can. Kindly remain on mute. We will mute you on our side too, but should that somehow change, then please make sure that you aren't shouting for the please make sure that you mute yourself again. Please be aware that this webinar is being recorded. A follow-up email with the presentation will be sent to you. This webinar is the last of a series of webinars presented by Ort SA Cape titled Creating Perceptually Sensitive Classrooms. As you can see, the first was Rethinking How Senses Can Be Used to Develop Perceptual Skills. The second focused on play to develop perceptual skills. And today we will explore perceptual skills development in emotionally challenging times. So before we go any further, I would like us to do what I like to call a wellness gauge or a once over. I would like you to think carefully about your surroundings right now and how they may be affecting you. Are you very aware of your surroundings? Are there distractions? Perhaps there are children playing in the distance, or perhaps the chair you are sitting in is uncomfortable. Perhaps there is the smell of the neighbor's bobotie wafting in through the window. Are you feeling a little anxious about this webinar? Perhaps you have never done one before and you are afraid that you may accidentally blurt something out or pick your nose in front of everyone. If you look at my slide, you will see that I've asked you to rate your current state of being on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being relaxed and comfortable and 10 being distracted and anxious, and of course anything in between. You will see options appear on your screen, and I would like you to choose your number. This will allow us to see how we are feeling as a group, an emotional check-in as such. This is a great thing to do with children at the beginning of the day, an age-appropriate activity to help you gauge where they are at. Perhaps a piece of colored cardboard for association with their feelings, which they hold up, or a simple thumbs up, thumbs sideways, or thumbs down works well too. They feel heard and you have an idea as to the way forward. Thank you for entering your numbers. I can see that you are doing so. You can have a look at that. Some of you may need to give it a thought or two. Right, thank you for submitting your ratings. As you can see, we are, on the whole, we are on a number 6 or so, but there is a big spread of numbers, and actually number 1 is quite prevalent, being relaxed and comfortable, which is fantastic. Number 6 and 7, there are some of you who are feeling distracted and anxious, which is fine too. And perhaps some of you who said that you were relaxed but aren't. Yes, we know you do it. Us teachers are not always happy to admit that we are not feeling strong, but it is good to see where we are at. Please know that you can sit back and enjoy the webinar, as nothing is required of you except to take it all in. As it happens, I have chosen orange as my background color here because according to some theories, it is a color which evokes comfort, security, and warmth, which is what I was hoping for. However, it is very important to note that people associate colors with memories and experiences and could therefore make one feel the opposite of what you intended. Please be aware of how your children are using their senses to fill in the gaps, in this example through sight. Let's now look at why we link emotions and perceptual skills. Have a look at this image. What do you see? What if I told you that it is incomplete? What would you add to complete it? Are there too few snippets given? Let's add the missing section to make it complete. What do you see now? Is it a horse-like figure? If it is, perhaps it's different from the person next to you. Some of you may see a zebra, some of you may see a horse, others may see a unicorn. This is the perceptual skill closure. In this webinar, we parallel closure with the emotional demands of the day. Children operate in their own happy bubble. But what is actually going on in their little hearts? Through their senses, they pick up snippets of information around them. Let's think about COVID. They are seeing masks with no facial expressions. Some of them, like my 6-year-old, have to deal with their glasses misting up. They are hearing people anxiously talking, probably whispering, about this deadly virus and are struggling to hear their teacher through her mask. They are having to deal with the smells of hand sanitizer and the inside of their masks. They are not allowed to touch things without them being sanitized, and hugging is out of the question. They may even be tasting foods from their kitchen for the first time, as moms bake banana bread and other goodies during lockdown. It would seem that this is torture in its own right, if you had to ask my children. But these snippets do not make a complete story for them. They put them together in a way which makes sense to them. We call this process perceptual closure. So my question to you is, are we giving them too few snippets? And often this is with the intention of protecting them from harsh realities. Could this mean that the picture they are creating is far worse or more scary than it should be? We underestimate what children know to be happening. They pick up on our anxiety. This is a collective trauma, and so we need to give them information in a way that they can process it with as many snippets as is appropriate and as we understand it and perceive it to be. Let's revise the 8 perceptual skills as a closure activity. Let's imagine this to be a little girl called Sophie who is sitting with Duplo blocks in her hands. She imagines it to be a bird. Sorry. And we call this closure. She moves with it and makes the accompanying auditory tweeting sound. This we call memory. She builds further. Then she chooses from the sticker page those she likes best and adds a few to her bird. This is called discrimination. She decides that she wants to decorate the other side in exactly the same way and tries to remember the order in which she stuck them on the first side. This is the perceptual skill of sequential memory. She holds it up and admires it, and for a second, she focuses away from it onto the tree outside, and then on the bird again. This is figure ground. She spots a sticker with the first letter of her name and adds that to her bird. This is symbol recognition. Then she takes it apart because she plans to use the same material to build new improved structure. Analysis and synthesis is used there. It is now a new improved bird, still a bird, but slightly different. This is constancy. She feels happy. This is a wonderful example of how children use activities, and in that activity, she is using all of the perceptual skills, all 8 of them. They do this every day, and if we are giving them guided and intentional activities to do this, we know that they are covering all of the perceptual skills. Closure is the ability to close something in a way that makes sense. There is not always only one correct answer. I think as teachers, we often depict closure as such, but in fact, it could be likened to an open-ended question. Closure is using your imagination. Imagination can take one out of reality to safety. This is important to understand because children process their emotions, especially trauma, through play. Play is all about imagining through the senses. So let's be aware that imagination takes them out of their reality and into a place of safety. Let's move on now to our tactile closure activity. Did you bring your 10 matches? Some of you have only recently been able to buy these again at the shops. Please do not use matches in the classroom. This is intended as an adult activity today. Should you choose to do a similar activity with your children, then ice cream sticks work very well. Placing your matches down in front of you, I would like you to close your eyes. Please build a triangle using 3 matches. This is a tactile activity, so you will be needing to feel your matches and trying to ascertain how they are sitting in the desk in front of you. Add 3 matches to make it into a house. And then add 4 more to make the house into a candle. This may not be as easy as you thought in the beginning. Give you a few more seconds to do that, and then let's open your eyes. Does it look anything like a candle? Some of you probably moved a match or 2 or kept your eyes open. Children do this too, by the way. Sometimes it's out of anxiety or the feeling like you're going to get it wrong. But if you have a look at your candle, does it look anything like it? I'd be interested to know as well how you used that 10th match. Did you use it as the wick of the candle? Did you use it as a pattern on the candle or diagonal? Have a look at how you closed your picture in your mind and then with your hands. Did this make you think about load shedding at all and needing candles at home? Perhaps it evoked another memory. Each child uses his or her own memories and imagination to do closure. Right, it is time for a brain break and a stretch. Let's jump up without giving anyone a fright, please. And I would like you to cross your legs and keep them like that, standing up. I would like you to stretch out your arms in front of you, cross them over each other at the wrist, and link your hands in front of you. Then tuck your linked hands under and bring them to your chest. Place your tongue on the roof of your mouth and focus on your breathing. Hold it like that. This is a brain gym activity and is specifically used for adults and children who are experiencing stress, anxiety meltdowns, or sensory overload. It's a great activity to calm the body and help children control their breathing. The teacher benefits greatly from this too, so join in the exercises in class. This activity can also be done sitting down. Please unwind yourself or unpretzel yourself now and sit down again. This brain gym program is designed around specific movements which directly target and stimulate the brain to help with sensory overload, focus, and to help reach academic potential. Please look up brain gym to find other activities which are great for children and teachers in the classroom. Remember, because some senses are dulled during this time, other senses are heightened too, and this can be very overwhelming as children try to make sense of it all using their perceptual skills. There are other ways of giving our brain a break, and laughter is one of them. In the classroom, I like to get my children to tell jokes to one another or to me, as bad as they may be. I often get the ball rolling with a knock-knock joke. Knock, knock. Who's there? Arch. Arch who? Bless you. Glad that you are wearing a mask. This is auditory closure at its best. Humor brings emotions, which is good in a time of crisis. Positive emotions. Laughter can help decrease fear. I'd like to do a follow-up reflection at this point. Please rate yourself on the same scale of 1 to 10, using the same criteria, with 1 being relaxed and comfortable and 10 being anxious and distracted. You will notice that I've used a different background color here. I've chosen green, blue, yellow, whichever one. Blue was this color I chose, whichever I felt suited the activity at the time. Blue signifies a calmness and reflection, which is perfect for this. Have a look. Has your answer changed from earlier? If so, what do you think influenced it? It seems to me like there are less people who are feeling distracted and anxious. Our number 1 scale has gone up, which makes me feel very happy. Were the focused activities and brain break a part of this change, perhaps? Perhaps some of you are still anxious about something unrelated. We need to be mindful of the fact that children may have some anxiety which can't be dealt with straight away, or a bigger underlying anxiety. Either way, this gauging of emotions helps us to understand where they are at. Engaging our children in activities which allow them to use their senses in a meaningful way through perceptual skills, particularly through closure, allows them to process the perception of the world around them and express themselves freely. This brings down their anxiety levels. So let's have a look at some activities to illustrate ways of doing this. Visual closure. For our ink painting activity, we will need paper, ink, and pens. Learners drip the ink onto their paper in a way that they choose, and they let the colors run. Those brave enough may even lift the page to help the ink spread. The choices they make here give them a sense of control. When it is dry, they add lines to show the objects they see. At this point, we will let them explain their visual closure process. And here, metacognition, which simply put is thinking about your thinking, is used. This may cause some anxiety amongst those who perhaps don't like messy work or fear that their answers are wrong. It's very important to create a space of non-judgment when allowing children to explain their work. As teachers, we need to listen and observe, step back and make space for expression. Remember, there isn't a wrong answer here. Every story or explanation matters, and we don't have to agree with it. Teach children to respect each other's opinions by modeling this behavior. We may find through our observations that children are asking for help or trying to find answers by what they are creating and how they are explaining it. Auditory closure. In this activity, we are creating sound pictures. We will need pre-recorded sounds and some stationery. The teacher plays the sound she wants the learners to use to create a picture. For this example, I will use sounds from the wild, as wild animals is a theme we use. They listen to the sounds and start forming a picture in their minds of which animals they may hear and what environment they come from. They then draw a picture. They will have the opportunity to explain the picture to their group afterwards. These sound pictures are then combined with others in the group to form a story. The story is arranged and told by the group of learners. Remember, non-judgmental, non-threatening environment. The teacher just needs to listen, listen, listen. The teacher can use different atmospheres or context when choosing sounds. I have had the pleasure of observing my 2 little girls in play during lockdown. I've listened and observed from a distance, which is sometimes a difficult thing to do. And from that, I've been able to gauge how they are feeling about COVID. When they play house, the mother often has to work from home, taking Zoom meetings at her computer. They homeschool their babies and get frustrated with them when they don't sit still. They go to the doctor for emergencies only, but also often because they have died from the virus, which the doctor then cures them of, and they hop up to get on with their crazy new existence. This was somewhat shocking to me at first. When I first watched them play this out, because death was not something we take lightly, and I was concerned by their depiction of it. It was clear that they were filling in the gaps with misinformation, their perceptual skill of closure. We need to be able to eliminate some of their misperceptions. Remember at the beginning, we spoke about giving them more snippets, but without interfering with their process. If they need the person to come alive again, then that's where they are at with their processing. However, each family would need to address this in a manner which is appropriate for them, even from a cultural and religious standpoint. This is a difficult call to make. When we do closure activities where children use their imaginations, we have to expect that they will use their immediate environment and sensory experience to draw from. At the moment, this may stem from COVID. Tactile closure speaks directly to the difficult circumstances we find ourselves in during this time. How do we comfort children? Let's add these two toys to their personal school toy box. A transition toy. Each child brings a favorite soft toy from home. This little toy forms a bridge of comfort from home. Send your hugs and comforts via their transition toy. My daughter's school has encouraged this, and she just loves bringing Ellie to school every day. I hug Ellie every morning, and if she needs comfort during the day, then she collects my hug from Ellie. She did say the other day, though, that Ellie was very sad and missing home, and so she hugged him instead. A stress ball. Each child makes a stress ball by putting compacted plastic bags inside a partnerless sock. I'm sure you can find lots of those partnerless socks. In my house, we have a whole drawer full of them. By letting them manipulate it, you acknowledge that you see them struggling and that you grant them time to process. It is very hard for children to transition when they are stressed. We need to give them confident momentum by providing these bridges of comfort and strategies for processing so that they can move forward. As importantly, if not more so, we need to find our comfort bridge. I was sent this amazing article written by a science journalist called Tara Hale, and she made me think a lot about our emotional journey. She wrote so eloquently. It's normal in a situation of uncertain and chronic stress to get exhausted and to feel ups and downs. How do you adjust to an ever-changing situation where the new normal is indefinite uncertainty? The more accustomed you are to solving problems, getting things done, and having a routine, basically being a teacher, the harder it will be for you because none of those things are likely right now. In my opinion, there is at least one thing which hasn't changed. We will always need perceptual skills to perceive our surroundings through our senses. It is as simple as that, going back to basics. But that's easier said than done. We are feeling loss at the moment. Loss of freedom, loss of norm in teaching, loss of rituals, loss of support systems. What we used to have has been taken away from us. So do we just say, it is what it is? Or do we regain control of the things we can? Firstly, let's expect less of ourselves, which goes against everything that we are taught. No one at the moment can function at full capacity. Discover where you get your energy from and what kind of downtime you need. Is it something tangible, like a sentimental item we carry with us? or hugging the dog tightly when you get home? Or is it a way in which you unwind and relax each day, going for a walk or dancing it out with loud music? We too need sensory activities which encourage closure. As teachers, we need to practice self-care and get support should we need it. The only thing you can change is your perception of it. Remember, we cannot be our best self and a strong role model if we are struggling to process our own emotions. Part of this is being true to ourselves. Children can sense when we are putting on a brave face or covering something up. Be as honest as you can. Let them know that there are some things that you don't know, but reassure them that they are supported. Try to leave your anxiety at the door and face the day with a sense of grabbing opportunities as opposed to fear. A good way to do this is to do a wellness gauge or check-in for yourselves before leaving home in the morning. Something we could all do, whether you're a teacher or not. Where are we at, and how can we move that rating to the best possible one before entering the classroom? And by doing so, we create a classroom atmosphere of kindness and comfort. Because the children cannot see your smile, let your eyes be super kind. Let your voice be warm but clear. Create a visually pleasing, smiling classroom of calm happiness. Be the first to laugh and encourage laughter. Make sure you as a teacher are the best version of yourself, because each child is uniquely different, and so are the levels of development of their individual perceptual skills. You can't be everything to everybody every day, but every child gets what they need through play. Be gentle with yourself and be authentic. So I thank you for taking the time to be here. Please email me with any ideas for the classroom and how to navigate this emotionally challenging time. I would love to hear from you. I will now be taking some questions. Should I not get to yours, please feel free to contact me. Thank you for being so patient. I'm just having a look at some of the comments and the questions. All these activities develop their verbal language skills so well. Thank you so much. That was Sue. Thank you for this very informative and inspirational session. Only a pleasure. Novel and innovative techniques. Would love to contact you. Please do. I would love to hear from you. Thank you very much. Very interesting. Please be reminded that we will be sending out a recording of this. So should you want to have a look back on anything, you are more than welcome. And if you have questions stemming from that, then please contact me. Some of you may be feeling a bit anxious about typing in a question here, which is completely fair. And I would love to chat to you. I see there are some great ideas on activities. I'm sorry to hear that somebody was having technical difficulties. Maybe someone can use the idea. I have feeling cards on each child's desk. The cards say, behind my mask, I feel, with little emoticons. How beautiful. The kiddos then put the card on their table of how they are feeling. What an awesome idea. Thank you, Ashley Talia. That's a lovely idea. I hope that others could use it. Would we be able to access previous presentations? Yes, if you email us or myself, I will be happy to give you the links to that. They like the match activity, hopefully not in the classroom. We would hate to have any fires. There we go. If you had technical difficulties, you'll receive the recording. Excellent. I have an emotional chart, says Hanim, and then they raise their hands depending on how they feel. Excellent. A great way to check in, especially at the beginning. And then we do Brain Gym. Brain Gym is fantastic. Please look it up. It's the most amazing program. And there are lots others. And if anybody has any ideas or anything else that they'd like to share, then I would love to hear from you as well. Let's just have a look. I will keep an eye on that should anybody else want to say anything or ask questions. But in looking at these and talking about the little activity of having the emoticons that show everybody how, or show the teacher at least how everybody's feeling, it makes me think about you know, some of the activities. There are wonderful activities out there about checking in with emotions, and children they respond so well to tangible things, to being able to name the emotions. There are great programs out for that as well, but actually it can be a simple thing. You need to teach them how to identify those emotions first, and a good way to do that is to give them the different face pictures with different expressions, name them, and then actually let them identify what feelings go with that, what words actually are associated with those different kind of emotion pictures. And once you've done that, it's a great idea to actually let them have those little cards, or even put them up on the wall and use it as a data collecting activity, data handling activity, where they go up and put a little star sticker underneath the emotion they are feeling. You can then gauge very quickly, and the whole class can gauge where they're at, and to again actually have non-threatening environment where it doesn't matter if somebody's not feeling okay. You know, also designing the activity around empathy, teaching them that if somebody isn't okay, how can we help them, how can we hold them and support them. So, you know, this emotional kind of chat is so vast. There are amazing things that we could talk about. We could probably do many webinars on emotions in general, and so I think it's a great way to do this, is to do the webinars, have a look, do your own research, chat to each other. It's learning from each other. We as teachers, I think, are very good at it when we are you know, kind of exchanging practical things and learning activities revolving around maths and phonics. But I think we need to do it more with emotional stuff and how we are actually dealing with emotions in the classroom. May you be safe, peaceful, and healthy. Thank you. That is fantastic. Compassion practice, a very important thing. Thank you, Hanim. That's excellent. I am seeing some of you are also messaging and saying that you'd like to email me. That's fantastic. I would love to hear from you. Self-care for me is also a very important thing. It's something I'm very passionate about as a teacher, and I think we neglect ourselves. We often feel that we need to be there for children all the time, and as important as that is, because they need us as role models, they need us as their stability. If we are not okay, or if we are even remotely you know, not taking care of ourselves, I think that could be damaging, because we are not able to then give them our best, and we're not able to model the behaviors we actually want to be doing. I would love to also send out some more information on Brain Gym. Perhaps we could do that on email, and maybe some other activities or something, should you be wanting that. Laurel says, laughter is such a good icebreaker for children. I used to have a silly laughing hanky. I'd wave it low and they would giggle. As the silly hanky goes higher, they laugh louder. What great fun. That's fantastic. I love that. I think laughter, if you don't have a sense of humor, I think particularly in this time, sometimes you just have to laugh, because if you weren't laughing, you may actually be crying in a heap in a corner a lot. But laughter is amazing. Try, please, as much as you can. Get them to tell you jokes as well. Some of them are hysterically funny, mostly because they are so terrible. If there are any more comments or questions, I'm loving just interacting with you. Ashley says the hanky idea is fantastic, which is good. Emotional intelligence is, as I said, a vast kind of topic that we could explore. But I think we need to also, most importantly, we need to forgive ourselves. We need to stand back and actually say we can't be everything to everyone. And you do your best. Some days you have great days and you do it spot on, and the children respond, and you know that you've been the most amazing teacher you've ever been. And other days it isn't, and other days you're not on your best game, and that's okay. And I think children, as I said, if you're authentic, children respond to that. They need a role model who is genuine, because when they are not feeling okay, they need to know that that's all right, that it's been modeled for them, that there are ways of dealing with it, that there are strategies of dealing with it. And if you are showing them that you too are relying on strategies sometimes, that they too can do that. I would love to chat more about this. I would also like to say a very quick thank you to, let me just minimize those. I would like to say thank you to our amazing AUT team. They have been amazing working in the background. We have researched this. We have had so much fun doing it, but most importantly, we really have felt that we have connected with a whole lot of you out there, and hopefully this will mean more things to come. Please follow us on social media, email us to share ideas, look out for webinars and courses. Most importantly, I salute you for your bravery and commitment to education. Stay safe and stay warm. Thank you very much.